that's the right shape to do so efficiently. The last video was all about the aspects of what quote-unquote right shape actually meant. And high-speed steel is harder than just about any material we as hobbyists are likely to run into. Combined with the fact that it's cheap, it makes it an ideal cutting tool. In fact, in some cases, it's preferred over the carbide tooling we'll look at in a minute. But we had to cut the high-speed steel to shape, and to do that we needed something harder. In our case, it was a grinding wheel. In fact, to cut high-speed steel into shorter pieces, like the slotting tools I use in my shaper, you'd be likely to use an angle grinder with a cutoff wheel. Moving our way up the food chain in hardness brings us to carbide. As you saw in the beginning of this video, carbide is harder than high-speed steel, and therefore, properly shaped, can be used as a cutting tool. Now, this is just a carbide blank. You can buy them just the way you buy high-speed steel blanks. But usually you'd find carbide already in the form of a cutter. Here I've got some lathe inserts and a couple of small end mills. And that right there is probably the reason insert tooling draws such big crowds. They provide it already cut to shape. High-speed steel is more than enough for what we need to do in the home shop, but it's on us to shape it. And for someone just coming out of the gate, I appreciate the appeal of that. A cutter that's already to shape and ready to go. But oh, how many shapes there are. Okay, old Tony, carbide is harder and comes in funny shapes. Who cares? I'll tell you who cares. Because it's so hard, it has the potential to move massive amounts of material very quickly. Though technically I think it might be more the temperature and wear resistance than the hardness, depending on the material you're up against. But what carbide can do in 5 minutes might take high-speed steel half an hour. For some people, E.G. manufacturers, how fast you can get her done is the name of the game. I know, weird name for a game. Unfortunately, carbide, just on its own, isn't magic. You need a machine with enough speed and horsepower to actually move the amount of material carbide is capable of moving. That takes us to point number 1. And I'll be honest with you, I don't know how many points I have. Carbide wants to go fast, and that only gets worse the smaller your work is. If you're making screws for, wristwatch, the carbide might want to see 10,000 RPMs. But for now, let's not have the details slow us down. Point number 2.